Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Thursday night on FGM eCast, and Thursday night means just one thing, which is the ANZCAR Cup, and we head to Circuit of the Americas tonight for the second time this week. Last night, we saw the Xfinity Series, the Thunder Series, as ANZCAR calls it, at Circuit of the Americas, where Andrew Dyson put in a dominant performance, taking pole position by nearly 2 seconds. He's running again tonight. Will he be that dominant in the face of stiff competition from the likes of Jason Martin, who took out the race win last week at Dover? We've already had qualifying. We're going to take you through those results shortly, so stick with us. Let's roll the intro and get into tonight's race.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to FGM eCast for the ANZCAR Cup here in Texas at the Circuit of the Americas. Tonight, I am joined in the booth by Lachlan Akio. Welcome back to the booth. How you going, Lockie?
Yeah, thanks, Carl. It's good. It's good to be back up here. It is a bit of fun, but I definitely miss and chomping at the bit to get back out there. So hopefully, I'll be back next week at some point. But I'll make the most of being up here with you, and we'll have some fun tonight, I reckon. It should be a good race. Last night was awesome in the Xfinity to watch.
Yeah, very much so. We were treated to some amazing racing, so much, in fact, we could barely catch it all on the stream, which is a problem that we don't mind having sometimes. It's not a bad problem to have, in all honesty, but the man of the hour, Andrew Dyson, he put in a great performance last night and is looking to get crowned the king of COTA if he can do it here, taking out victories in the trucks, the Xfinity and the Cup Series if he can manage to hold on for 30 laps around this track.
Well, he's not going to do it easy, though. He's going to have to do it starting from the outside of the front row, though, because I think we've had Jake Maloney come in there and snatch pole off in there in qualifying tonight.
Yeah, and we saw Maloney very fast last night, taken out, unfortunately, with an accident through no fault of his own. But there are some very fast drivers out there. It's going to be a really good one to watch. Just quickly, before we carry on, let's just go through the championship standings as they are from Dover International Speedway last time out. So, Josh Mickelmore still in the lead. He's got a 26-point advantage over Michael Skurlock. Third position is Neil Pearson, 62 points behind the leader. 65 points behind the leader is Jason Martin in fourth. Fifth, we have Danny G, 75 points behind the leader. Maddie Raymond in sixth, doing a good job with 85 points down. Hamish Gallagher in 70, 95 points down. Eighth is reigning champion Edward Foster, 103 points off the leader. Ninth place, we have Luke Traher, 144 points off. And in 10th, working up 5 positions last at Dover, doing a great job, Ruben Phelps, up into the top 10 of the championship. 170 off the leaders, but he's been having a good season, Ruben, and really proving that he has got some pace underneath him.
And you certainly can't discount the fact that last week he went from 30th up to 3rd. That was a brilliant drive there from him, and very much deserving of the effort he put in.
Yeah, a really, really good job from himself. Fantastic work. So let's go through the starting grid for tonight's race here at Circuit of the Americas. On pole position, as was said before, Jake Maloney with a fantastic lap. Philip Worley in second. On the second row of the grid, we have Andrew Dyson and Michael Skurlock. On the third row, we have Edward Foster and Neil Pearson. Fourth row, Tristan Koch, another good qualifying session from him with Hamish Gallagher. Fifth is Luke Traher with Kate Donnelly. Sixth, we have Barry Neal and Stephen Williams. Seventh is Danny G with Jason Martin. Eighth row is Parry Anastakis with Justin Witcher. Ninth, we have Aidan Schultz, Dave Douglas. On the 10th row is Scotty Griffiths with Riley Curtis. 11th row is Finley and Robbie. On the 12th row, we have Gary Wellman and Troy Davidson. On the 13th is Josh Micklemore and Aaron Dillon. 14th, we have Ruben Phelps and Paul Jackson. And at the back, we have Maddie Raymond and Damon Stockton. So, bumper field out there and a lot of fast drivers up the top. Those DPR cars are looking quick out there tonight, but Jake Maloney definitely has some speed underneath him.
Interesting to note, though, a couple of names that are a little bit out of position to what we're normally seeing. Josh Micklemore, Jason Martin and Danny G. The Mitch Motorsport cars don't really seem to do too well at the road courses, and it's seen that in their qualifying with Danny 13, Jason in 14th, and Josh is all the way down in 25th. They're not going to be happy about that.
No, really tough qualifying session for Mitch, and they have got a lot to do in the series as well. They've got all their drivers in the championship at the moment, but they've got to work their way up there. Best qualifier for the team is Hamish Gallagher in 8th. Michael Skurlock having a good session as well up there in 4th, and Neil Pearson not too far off from him. So the top of the championship could make a bit of a change tonight with Josh Micklemore so far down. He's going to want to try and improve that position and get a few more positions to help with the regular season championship.
Yeah, I think one spot to watch here will be first corner straight off the bat. It's very open, big, wide entry. Really invites someone to just sneak one up the inside or even go right around the outside. So it's going to probably going to see fireworks here at turn 1.
Yeah, we've seen it in turn 1, often that uphill braking zone. It does help a little bit with less chance of locking up sometimes, but when there's so many cars, we've got 30 cars going into that one corner, it's very tight. We might see a few incidents there. Another big corner to watch out for is T11, just after all of the wiggly bits in the midsection of the track, that very tight left hand onto that back straight. So those are the areas that are going to be big ones to watch out for. The pace car comes in, peels off. Jake Maloney is going to lead the group around the corner, and we are going to be going green shortly. Jake Maloney will be the effective pace car now. He's going to get ready to drop his foot. When it goes green, he will launch it away. And who's going to get a good start here? We're soon to find out. For COTA here with the ANZCAR Cup, and Maloney does get a very good start, pulling away very well there. Philip Worley not so lucky. He's actually dropped off a fair bit, and it's given Michael Skurlock the chance to get up the inside. Foster making a good leap up there. He's managed to get inside of Dyson and Worley there. Will he be able to make his way down there? Looks like Dyson has just managed to get in front of Foster for the moment. Seems like everybody has managed to get relatively clean through that first corner, but now comes the tricky section.
Yeah, everyone seems to have come out of the first corner relatively unscathed. A couple of cars not going as quickly as others, but I think that's just from a bit of a missed opportunities. But very, very good start there from Foster, all the way up to third off the third row there. He's got up under third place, so he'll be very pleased with that. Hopefully he'll be hoping to hold off Worley and Skurlock.
Yeah, not an easy thing to do there. Those are very, very quick drivers. Just keeping an eye through the field at the moment, of course.
We've got to move there for third, sorry.
Worley makes the move there and gets a good jump on Foster for third position. So Philip Worley already starting to make some pace there. Foster's initial start not working out too well. Everybody seems to be making it through this lap relatively cleanly. As I said that, Ruben Phelps has had a big moment and lost the car, manages to get it back under control and manages to avoid contact, but big moment in turn 11 for him.
Yeah. And I think I noticed something there with Worley. He just seemed a lot more confident under brakes than Foster was, and he just went way deeper in there, pulled it up a little bit better than him and got out there. So it's just a bit of confidence there with road courses, being that his background is on the road courses.
That's it. There's a big off in the background, actually. Trying to see who that was.
That was Gallagher running wide, possibly.
Dave Douglas, that was. I thought I saw a bit of green on that car, and yep. And there was a bit of green on the car as well, but Dave Douglas having a big moment there in the background. And he started from pit lane as well, so he's way down at the moment. But yeah, big moment there. But it's Jake Maloney at the moment in the lead, having a good run, good first lap from him, very quick first lap as well. But Andrew Dyson just behind him as well, is starting to try and close in a little bit now. He's going to want to try and push Maloney to try and overcook those tyres a little bit. Meanwhile, there are a few battles down the grid. as I think Tristan Koch might have got caught out a little bit as well from the sounds of things, but there are a few little positions all over the place at the moment. It's all go.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of big movers there on the first lap was Damon Stockton from 30th to 20th. I believe Josh Micklemore's made quite a bit of ground there as well. He's gone up 3 or 4 spots as well. So a couple of big movers making the most of some early moments, but it's going to be hard to overtake, so it was definitely key to get some spots on that first lap.
Yeah, we were just watching Stephen Williams there. A bit of damage on that car, and up to Luke Trahair now as well. Luke having a relatively good run up the field, managed to make 2 positions. He's got Kay Donnelly behind him. We saw Kay having a good run last night as well, showing some good speed in that car. Hamish Gallagher's got a lot of damage on the nose of his car. An awful lot of damage. I don't know what's happened to Hamish Gallagher. He's had a big moment somewhere in the lap.
I wonder if in turn 1 there was a bit of a concertina that we didn't quite notice, but everyone sort of got into the back of each other, because I'm noticing from about 8th down to about 13th, a lot of cars have got nose and tail damage.
It was from the start. I've just gone back and had a look, and it was because because of Philip Worley. Philip Worley just missed his gear.
Sorry, Carl. There's a car that's just gone straight off there. I believe it's Aaron Dillon.
Yeah, Aaron Dillon has gone off and absolutely wrecked the front of that car. Big damage to the nose of that one. It looks like it looks like probably a technical failure there, in all honesty. It just looks like he's lost something. Maybe his steering's gone out or something like that, and he's just run straight across there. But at the start, Philip Worley, I think he missed the gear or just didn't have the car in gear when it actually went green or bogged down, because there was a huge checkup behind him and a lot of cars got into the back of each other in that second line. So that's why there's so much damage out there at the moment with all of those cars.
Wonder if he started in second gear, because I know, I from what I recall, these cars tend to like it better in first gear at the road courses. It's a bit of a weird one, but they do. So I wonder if Worley's just had it in second gear rather than first. Bit of an instinctive thing from the ovals where you start in second, but he might have missed that one there. Missed the opportunity to get a good start.
Yeah, he just got caught out, and it just caught out a lot of people behind him. But it's an easy mistake. Well, it's an easy thing to do, of course, because these cars, they get a lot of wheel spin underneath them. So sometimes you think second gear might be the better one. At the moment, Andrew Dyson is all over the back of Jake Maloney. Dyson, it seems to be handling those tight, twisty corners through the S's a lot better at this stage of the race, as we're on lap 3, and seems to have a little bit more speed over Maloney at the moment in that section. But Maloney is carrying a little bit more speed for a couple of the other corners. You just see him pulling away down the straight here, just able to get on the accelerator a little bit quicker there and just get away nicely. So little different styles of driving between those two drivers. I think we're going to get a good battle for the lead there.
I bet you Dyson could read the part number on the back of that rear wing at the moment. He's getting that close, and then I wouldn't discount Worley either. He's right on the back of this battle as well.
Yeah, very much so. It's we've got Jake Maloney defending a pair of DPR cars with Dyson and Worley, and we know DPR are very good on the road track, so they've got a lot of experience in that area, and they're doing a good job at the moment. Foster's still sitting back there in 4th position. He's got Michael Skurlock all over the back of him like a rash at the moment, and Skurlock's going to want to try and get ahead of Foster and see what he can do, try and chase down Worley and that leading pack. There's already about a 4-second gap from Worley to Foster at the moment, so those guys are being dropped off a little bit.
And there's action galore all the way through the field at the moment. Anywhere you look, there's a battle going on. I believe Danny G's having to defend against Finley, and a few others. Micklemore making moves. There's action everywhere at the moment. It's hard to keep up with.
Always the hardest bit about road racing and street tracks is just keeping up with all the action, because there is so much to look at. It is tricky to know exactly where to look. But as you say, Danny G's got Finley all over the back of him. There are quite a few battles going through. Josh Micklemore has got a fast-charging Troy Davidson on the back of his tail at the moment, and Davidson's going to try for that drag race up the start-finish straight. Will he be able to be the last of the late breakers into that first corner and make a bit of a move? A little bit too far away at the moment. It's not going to stop Riley Curtis from giving it a little bit of a look. He actually goes up the outside. Now he's going to try for the move, but I think he's going to end up losing a position to James Robbie there if he doesn't get across, which he does. So he just manages to save that position, but giving it a bit of a look, sometimes that can cost you a little bit of speed and cost you that position.
And I think there was a move there for that just in front of that battle. Damon Stockton getting past Justin Witcher as well there. So he's put himself up into 13th, and he being one of the DPR cars, he'll be looking to move a bit further forward, get up there with his teammates.
All go, and Foster and Skurlock are now side by side. Skurlock is just ducking back underneath the rear wing of Foster at the moment, just trying to get that little bit of a draft down this big long back straight. He's going to brake late and go underneath Foster here. Will he be able to make it work? He's just got to not lock a tyre. He's got the inside line, and he's going to force Foster to go wide, and you can see there, giving Neil Pearson a chance.
Ed just outbroke himself there, and Neil Pearson snuck up the inside. Ed won't be too happy about that, but at the same time, it's probably not the point in the race to be fighting over sheep stations with a lot of laps to go and a pit stop to come.
Yeah, that's it. There is still a long way to go in this race. 26 laps remaining, of course. And as you say, a pit stop is going to need to happen. The big thing here is going to be, there's going to be a bit of tyre management going on out there, because you want to try and keep those tyres alive. A big difference from last night is the track temperature. We saw in the Xfinity series, the track temp was about 20 something degrees, if I recall. It's 44 degrees out there tonight, so, well, today. So it's a lot warmer out there, and that's not going to be what the tyres want to hear.
Yeah, well, I think we'll see a lot harsher drop-off. I think that might even be why Maloney's got Dyson all over the back of it at the moment. He started to pull away a bit early, maybe went a bit too hard. So that battle's really getting tight now. Dyson's less than a couple tenths away now in the sections that Maloney was quicker before.
Yeah, and you can sort of see that through the S's with Dyson. He's just able to keep a little bit close to Maloney as he just catches one of those sausage curves, Maloney there, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time through the S's right here. It's going to give Dyson the opportunity to get a lot closer to him, maybe have a bit of a lunge into turn 11. So he's going to get right onto the rear of the bumper of the number 29 of Jake Maloney. He's just got to keep nice and close now. If he can get the traction off this corner, he's got a shot down towards turn 11. Will he make the lunge, or will he just sit for position? He just comes out a little bit just to try and force Maloney to bend, and he makes the move.
And Maloney's going to be careful here. He's not going to be susceptible to Wally behind. He might even have another go here at Dyson, because he got a good run off that corner. And he's got the draft coming down the back straight. He's going to hold in there. I wonder if he's going to make his move. He's going to go to the inside here. Oh, and he might, yeah, he's thought better of it. A little bit early to be making moves like that, and I think Dyson has the superior pace anyway.
Yeah, he just discretion, the better part of valor there, which was a good move to make. I think just sitting rather than making that move and locking a tyre and damaging the rest of the race, because that could have been a tricky one. Just getting into the swing of things, and now he's just got to think about Wally behind him, just keep him off his back too much.
Bit of action there for fourth place. Sorry to interrupt there, Carl. Neil Pearson's all over the back of Skurlock, and he was just making a few moves, and he might go up the inside here. Oh, he's got the inside line, and I think he's got it done. Skurlock runs wide there. Neil Pearson gets the move, and I think Ed Foster might now have a look at Skurlock here.
He's having a look, but Skurlock managed to shut the door on him. Didn't quite make the same move as Skurlock and Pearson did. Foster tried it, just couldn't quite make it work into that set of corners as they go into turn 16. It's a tricky part of the track as well, just to get right underneath somebody and follow them in that area. So I think Foster's going to try and put some pressure on Skurly right here. Those two have been racing each other an awful long time and know each other quite well on the track, but Neil Pearson at the moment looks to have a little bit more pace. He's pulling away a little bit from Skurlock and Foster.
Yeah, I think there's about to be a move here from Parry Anastakis and Barry Neal here. Parry's pulled up to the back of Barry pretty quickly here, and he's now putting a bit of pressure on into turn 1. Oh, I think that might be a bit of a gentleman's agreement, actually, because Barry's run nice and wide and lifted out of it.
Yeah, I think Barry Neal just, rather than fighting that position and costing himself tyre degradation, has just given that position up. As we see, is that Danny G there getting passed by Aiden Schultz?
Yep, and I think I think that was Danny G making a move on Aiden Schultz and not quite being able to pull it off there, because he's been behind him for a little while now. That'll be frustrating, Danny, because you'll know he's got a little bit of a quicker car, but he just can't make the move at the moment.
No, he's managed to get back past Finley though. A little bit earlier on I saw Danny G did fall behind Finley, so he's managed to get that position back. So Danny G just working his way back up those positions. But it is that thing.
not been a great start for Danny. He did start up in 13th and fell back already, so... And he'll be probably getting a little bit frustrated stuck behind Aiden, but with the pace that he's got at the moment, it shouldn't be too long. And he might even be helped here by Justin Witcher as they're catching up the back of him. And I think he just had a big old bite of the sausage curb there coming through the turn 11, which he won't be too pleased with, but hopefully it hasn't done too much damage to the front splitter, and he'll move on from that.
I think you have to be careful, of course, with these cars, and those sausage curbs, because they are just treacherous to the underneath of the car, and they can do a fair bit of damage to front splitters and sometimes even suspension and things like that. It's not a fun thing to do. You don't want to hit them too often, and it's very easy to lose control of the car as well when you hit them.
Yeah, I've seen on the new damage model, I've seen those ANZCAR cars tear front corners out.
Oh, as Danny G makes a move on Aiden Schultz down for 15th and 16th position. There's going to be a bit of a drag race here. Aiden Schultz is going to have the inside line. It's going to push Danny G out wide.
Finlay might take advantage if Danny can't quite hold on here.
The thing is, Danny G's going to have the inside line for the next corner. He manages to hold that position back.
And Wellman's going to have a bite here soon as well. He's pulled onto the back of this little mini battle pack, and he'll be hungry to try and make some moves as well. He's had a good start moving up 4 spots.
Yeah, we saw Wellman actually having a good drive in the Xfinity series last night, having some good speed, just a little bit unlucky in some respects. So he's again having a good drive.
Danny's going to have a go on Naden. Sorry to interrupt, Carl, but I think he's going to make the move here and finally stick it. It's a good turn in, good braking, and I wonder if... There we go. Oh, it's not over yet. Sorry, I think I've jumped the gun. Aiden's going to hold it around the outside. Not quite.
Aiden tried.
Move done.
Aiden tried for the up and under as well with that one. Just tried to defend it. Couldn't quite make it work. But great driving from those two. Very close between them as well. And that's what we love to see, that kind of racing. A lot of respect shown on the track as well there between the two. And not even any door banging from the pair. So being very polite to each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think those two have got a lot of respect for each other, though. Aiden for Danny and Danny for Aiden. So.
Meanwhile, up the front, Jake Maloney has got a fast-charging Philip Worley right on his tail at the moment. Andrew Dyson is the fastest out of everybody that last lap round. Not by much, but he is faster. But it looks like Maloney's starting to struggle a little bit. Worley is putting on the pressure at the moment in the Camry, and he is really starting to press the advantage on Maloney. So he's just trying to put the pressure on Maloney, trying to force him to go maybe a bit quicker than he wants to, and see if he can cause a little bit of issue.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised. It's been about three and a half laps since Dyson made the move on Maloney, and he hasn't really pulled away as fast as I thought he would. So I wouldn't discount Maloney just yet. Maybe a bit of good pit strategy, you might be able to pull off something here later in the race.
Yeah, meanwhile, there's a bit of a battle starting to edge up. As I said, there's a bit of a battle. There's battles all over the place at the moment. But Foster in 6th position is looking a little bit vulnerable to the Crank Esports cars. The Crank Esports cars are making a bit of a sandwich with him, with Luke Traher behind him and Skull in front of him. Traher is gaining on Foster, so he's trying to get that position and get behind his teammate. I would say that would be something to keep a lookout on next couple of laps, say. But there are battles still throughout the field at the moment. Christopher Finlay, Aiden Schultz at the moment having a good scrap as well. Those cars are nose to tail as it stands. So there's a lot of fighting going on this track. And let's say we've only had 8 laps so far, so there's still a long way to go in this race.
Bit of a change of position for the top 10 as Damon Stockton's pushed Parry Anastakis back out again. But Stockton continues his charge. Will we see another 30-3? Or will we see a last to first maybe from Stockton? Watch this space.
Yeah, he's having a heck of a run. 20 positions gained so far for Stockton. That is a brilliant drive. Again, another DPR car, Simrig's car. It just those cars seem to be loving it out there tonight. And as I said, that team very much experienced on the old road racing side of things.
They've had a good season all round, though. If you have a look at all of their cars, they've got a couple in the 10 at the moment, and a lot of them have had wins or been up there in the top 3 positions. And even the cars that typically, like Stockton, we wouldn't normally see towards the pointy end, he's been running top 5s, top 10s. They've as a team, lifted themselves in terms of their performances this year.
Yeah, very much so, and we've heard a lot from them as well, talking about the help that Neil Pearson's given them on the oval side of things, and they've been working very well as teammates and just really upping each other's game, and that's what you've got to. That's what you want to have it in a team, is working together and upping each other's game. We see it a lot through the field, and you often see somebody they sort of maybe languishing a little bit or struggling, then they jump into a team, and then all of a sudden their luck turns around and things start to come a little bit better for them.
Yeah. And Foster's pulled back onto the back of Skurlock. I wonder if there's been a little bit of tie dagger or a mistake here, because Foster's now all over the rear wing again, and he'll be hungry to try and get back in front of him. Get back into that top 5 that he'll be so desperate to get a hold of.
Yeah, Foster's wanting to get some good results and keep it in the top 5 for the rest of the season, I think, just to make sure he secures his spot in the chase, of course, because it's not been the best start to the year for him. He'll admit that himself, and it's been a bit of a rough one, but he's really sort of battling it out. It's sort of doing he's got the issue of having to fight the car in front of him and defend the car behind him at the moment, because Luke Traher has got right onto his rear spoiler as well now and is all over the back of him. So it's very much a tricky situation. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't with that, because when you do try and make the move on Skurlock, you make yourself open to the car behind you, which is Skurley's teammate Luke Traher.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, another reason that Ed will really want to get back into the top 5 is you want to make the most of the Mitch Motorsport struggling this round. He can't do much about the DPR cars because they're quite a lot stronger this race, but he'll really want to make the most and try and capitalise on the Mitch Motorsport misfortune this race, with them being up at the top end of this championship.
Yeah, he's sitting relatively good for chase contenders at the moment. He's got the only other people in the chase in front of him is Pearson and Skurlock, and they're not super far ahead. Pearson in 4th, Skurlock in 5th, Foster 6th. But with Mitch Motorsport, you need to take advantage of their misfortune, because they will be back strong, as they often are. And we saw it last time out, them taking 3 victories in a week. They can absolutely do it. When they're switched on, they are nigh unbeatable.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously Martin winning last week, Ed will really want to try and make the most of him now, sitting down there in 14th, nowhere near the top end of the table.
Yeah. Got Dave Douglas coming into pit lane, so first of the stoppers on lap 9, and this is sort of the area where we're sort of thinking we may see a couple of stops coming in. Might be a little bit early, but it's sort of around this sort of time where these cars will start getting a little bit light and start needing a bit of a top-up, and of course the tyres will start getting very, very loose as well.
If there's a bit of an issue with Dave there, because he's pulled off to the side of the track. He's not moving at the moment. I wonder if he's having some sort of technical issues why he's come to the pit lane there, just to get it off the track so he's not in the way.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Dave Douglas. So not the stop that he would have wanted, and not what he would have wanted to have happen. Hopefully it's easy fixed. It looks like he's getting some speed back in the car at the moment, but we'll keep an eye on Dave Douglas there. But it's never fun when you have technical issues. It's a very frustrating thing as well. You just sort of it's almost soul destroying especially if you're having a good run. But whenever you have technical issues, it's just never fun to try and fix them on the fly as well. Yeah,
I mean, whether it's technical issues or he's not quite happy with something, but it certainly doesn't look normal. It's not. You wouldn't normally have a car pull off to the side of the road out of the blue. So hopefully he's got it back going again here, and he'll be able to finish the race out with a relatively clean race car.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll be able to get back to speed, because we'll get a bit of an idea of what the difference between very old, very worn-out tyres and some very fresh tyres will be as well, because that's going to be starting to make a bit of an effect as well.
Worley's pulled onto the back of Maloney here, and there's now a bit more of a fight going on for second place. It's, maybe Maloney's starting to struggle a bit, because Dyson's moved the margin out over a second for the first time in this race. And Worley's all over the back of Maloney here.
And we've also got just with the Wally battle as well. There's the battle for Traher and Foster as well, as Traher is really putting pressure on Foster at the moment. He's going to try and get the car underneath him. Doesn't quite make it this time round. They've changed position about 3 times this lap so far, so those two have been fighting it out very tough as well. But Traher is really putting the pressure on the 53 of Foster at the moment. 43 versus 53. It's a battle of the threes at the moment. Who's going to come out on top?
Yeah, the old wise head of Foster, former reigning champion of the series, versus a relatively new person who's really started to find his form in the times of recent. Luke there, who I think has also got a background in road racing, so he's not too bad, not too shabby on the old road tracks.
No, that's it. It's
almost contact, not quite, but very close there between Traher and Foster into turn 1.
The big block being thrown there from Foster. He just positioned that car knowing that Traher was going to make that move. Just positioned that car just to make sure he was a rolling roadblock and it couldn't be done. But this is allowing behind him Gallagher and Donnelly to catch up as well. So that battle is being caught up on. Is of course what happens when you are fighting on a road course like this, is it slows you down a bit and then everybody else catches you up.
Yeah, probably hurting their tyres too. Traher, obviously, with the dirty air, is not going to be helping his rubber, and Ed trying to defend, he's going to be using up more brake, more front tyre, just a little bit more of everything to try and hold on to that position, if he hasn't already hurt the tyres as well at this point, and that's why he's struggling.
As they also get very close again, Traher's right on the back of Foster there. You can see he could almost read what was on the back of Foster's helmet with that being that close. Just behind him, got Gallagher and Donnelly as well. Those two are starting to get a little bit racy, but Traher is definitely trying to make that move on Foster. And will he do it here? He's trying to go for the late brakes. Doesn't quite get it pulled up in time, but he's going to get the underneath. Doesn't quite make it. He's going to try and get on the inside now of turn 15. Foster's managed to defend it.
There's really only a couple of spots you can make a move if without the other car being able to defend it, and it's pretty much turn 11 and turn 1 are the two best spots to make a move around here. Everywhere else, the lead car can position his car just in the right way that it becomes almost impossible to get past, and I think Ed knows that, and Ed's making the most of that.
Yeah, that's the widest Chevrolet on the track at the moment. Just behind him, Kate Donnelly has made a bit of a mistake, and that's given Luke Traher the opportunity. Hamish Gallagher even a little bit of an opportunity, but Foster and Traher are definitely really putting the pressure on at the moment and giving us a great show. And I think Donnelly is going to just pull it out a little bit and going to get Hamish Gallagher getting through from position. Hamish Gallagher is going to get up into...
and Traher's made the move there on Foster. He's just managed to outbrake him there into turn 1. Ed not able to hold on to that one, and Traher moves into P6 there.
Get the double overtake there. Foster and Traher getting the better there, and Gallagher getting the move on Donnelly. So as I say, as always is the case, lots of action on track, too much to show.
Yeah, well, let's hope it stays that way. I think there's a bit of movement there for P16 between Schultz, Curtis and Finlay as well. I think Finlay was trying to make a move on Curtis there at some point, but there's a nice little battle pack there over P16 between Schultz, Curtis, Finlay, Wellman and Micklemore.
Yeah, we've got some good battles going up and down the track at the moment. Anastakis has got Danny G all over the back of him as well. So Danny G recovering that car from a little bit of falling back at the start. Meanwhile, Jake Maloney and Philip Morley are still at it at the front. The battle is not just in the mid-pack and lower down the order. It is right here up the front as well for P2 and P3. Worley has been looking at the back of Jake Maloney for many, many laps now, and is really trying to put the pressure on. He's been a bit closer a few laps and sort of easing off a little bit, just getting a little bit of distance, maybe just letting the tyres cool down and then putting the attack on again. So it's all go at the moment across the field.
And they've closed back into Dyson as well. They've brought that margin under a second again. So I certainly wouldn't count them out for the win either here at the moment. It's still very much 1-2-3 battle for the lead here.
Yeah, this battle is fantastic to watch, and it's really giving us some good things to show across the broadcast as Wally makes a late braking move on Maloney. Is he going to get it stopped in time? He locks up the brakes a little bit. Can he get on the power in time? Not quite. Maloney holds on to P2 for the moment, but that was very close between the two of them.
Yeah, very tight. Nearly made contact. Only just missed out on there. We've seen a few of those tight moments into turn one so far.
That's it.
I think there's been a oh, no, not quite. Sorry, misreading the timing there. I thought Foster might have just snuck past Trahair, but the timing just updated then.
Good battle between Riley Curtis and Christopher Finley at the moment as they go around the sweeping 16, 17 and 18 corners. Riley Curtis has just managed to hold on to that position. Very close there between those two. So again, lots of battles going on through this pack at the moment, ensuring us for some great moments as Jake Maloney makes a mistake, locking up the brakes into turn 11. This is going to mean he's going to have a bit of a slower run off the corner. This is going to give Wally the opportunity now down this long straight, and he might have a chance coming into the braking zone of turn 12. Maloney has managed to pull out a little bit of a gap, but that lockup will have heated up the tyres a little bit and maybe given him a bit of a flat spot.
I think Wally might have done a bit of the old monkey see, monkey do there, because he looked like he just got about as good an exit as Maloney did as well. So, bit of a monkey see, monkey do moment, and I think Maloney might have gotten away with one there.
He did, but then he locked it up again in turn 12. So a few lockups on this lap for Maloney. So he's definitely starting to feel the pressure a little bit, feel the heat, as we say. But he's been under pressure for a good, 13 laps almost. It has been unbelievable up the front. They have been racing so close to each other. But Maloney's been doing a great job of keeping Wally behind him. As he goes off the circuit, he runs wide here. That's going to give Wally the opportunity to coming into pit lane.
I think it's that point, actually. It's lap 13. You sort of come in for a 2 or 3 lap undercut on those that are going to be splitting the race in half. I think it might be a good call at the moment for him to come in here and try and do something, because otherwise he's just going to keep falling back from those two.
That's it. And that's going to trigger a few people to start thinking about coming in. We did see last night with
there's some action, sorry to interrupt, Carl, over P16, P17 there again. Finlay and Wellman there, teammates fighting it out with Mickelmore trying to make the most of it on the inside of Wellman, not quite there. I think Aiden Schultz is really a bit of a cork in the bottle here, because he's brought Raymond, Robbie and a few others into this battle as well.
Yeah, a lot of cars behind him at the moment. Gary Wellman having a big tank slapper. He managed to get the save on that one though, and it was almost a big moment. Riley Curtis just in front of Aiden Schultz at the moment as well, so those two are doing good. Ed Foster's coming to pit lane as well, so Foster is pitting this lap as well. Danny G in as well as Anastakis.
And a little bit of a side note, unfortunately Troy Davidson's made a mistake coming onto the front straight, just lit the rears up and killed the car, so he's pulled out of the race as well.
That is a big shame for Davidson, and he was having a relatively good run up to that point, but big accident with that one, and that's a big moment. Lost the complete rear end of the car. Bit of a weird one, that one, wasn't it? He sort of went onto the painted line and just, I think, caught a tiny bit of grass, and that spun that car around, and that's going to be a costly repair job. Of course, if you want to make sure that you don't have to suffer some nasty repair jobs, get in touch with our friends of AJ Insurance Company. Well worth getting AJ Insurance Services, well worth getting in contact with. A friend of the stream, and of course keeping us on the air. We thank them very much. But for all your insurance needs, make sure to get in contact with them.
Bit of a lull at the moment as a few cars have come in. It's just sort of separated our battle packs, and I think Maloney's probably the closest to a battle we're getting as he's carving through some of these slower cars on the fresher tyres here at the moment.
Andrew Dyson and Philip Worley in. So those two have decided to pull the pin. They couldn't leave it out there too much longer because they know Jake Maloney's going to start flying at the moment and make the advantage with the undercut. So it's going to be interesting to see how they did. How good was their in lap? You saw Philip Worley. I don't know if we caught it on the stream, but Philip Worley on his coming into the pit lane was completely sideways, got it in perfectly, and great stop for him. This is going to leave our teammate Neil Pearson out in the lead of this race now. He's going to keep it out there a little bit longer, as well as Michael Skurlock. Jake Maloney is just coming through the final set of corners at the moment, as it was a big mistake in front of him.
Oh, he's almost got clipped by a Curtis there. I think this might hurt Maloney, you know. He might have the fresh tyres here, but he's had to deal with a lot of traffic coming through here at the moment. A lot of traffic that was running 2, 3, 4 seconds a lap slower than they were at the front when he was out in the clean air. It might have hurt him, you know. He might not be able to get the same advantage he was hoping to get.
I think it's hurt him a fair bit, because he's dropped a fair amount of time. He's dropped all the way back to...
You know what? I wonder if he's been done for speeding.
I'd say
30
so,
seconds.
Yeah. His lane time was 1 minute 22 seconds, so I'd say he's got done for speeding. He's got pinged.
Yeah, because he's about 30 seconds off Dyson and Wally there, so wouldn't surprise me, like you say, if he's been done for speeding, and that's... Well, yeah, he's lost his opportunity at the top 3, and now scarily as it is, we might even see a DPR 123 here at the moment, because Neil Pearson was the next car in line after the top 2.
Yeah, how will Maloney recover? He's going to have to put in some serious lap times. I was going to say, actually, because Damon Stockton had a big moment in front of him and cost him time, I was just thinking that it was a lapped car, but no, that was for position, of course. So Jake Maloney getting past Stockton and Stockton and Donnelly. So he's managing to work his way up there, but it is very close between them. But he's going to have to put in a lot of work now. That has really been a costly mistake for him.
Yeah, a lot of laps to go still. Still got over 15 laps to go, so he's got plenty of time to try and make a recovery, but we might be seeing a bit of a DPR whitewash of the top 3 here.
Neil Pearson in pit lane. As there was a big lock-up there. I don't know if that actually was Maloney, because I saw a big lock-up, and I was wondering if that was Maloney. Maloney is... I think Maloney's just trying a bit too hard, and he's just getting a bit sideways there, so that's not going to help him out. But Michael Skurlock in pit lane, as well as Luke Trahere, so those guys have come in now. So it's going to be a question... Big question now is how is Foster going to come to Luke Trahere because that was who he was battling closest with. We're going to see how this undercut works. Foster down at the start-finish line now. Trahere still in pit lane, so he's going to lose a bit of time.
Foster's going to jump on Skurlock.
Yep. So that's the difference on fresh tyres there. Foster making an absolute jump on those two, but now of course he's on a set of tyres that are a little bit older, 2 laps older than those two, so that's where the pain can come in a little bit later in this stint.
Yeah, definitely. Has anybody stayed out there, or have we had everyone come in now? Looks like we got Finlay, Cock, Griffiths, and Phelps out there still yet to pit, but I believe that our top 3 might have all cycled through the lane there for now.
Yeah, top 3 all come through pit lane now, so the top of the field have all made their pit stops and been through and got all the bits done to the cars. Got a few bits of polishing done, a nice clean windscreen, all the important things done to the car. Michael Skurlock making...
I think Jake Maloney might have had an issue because he's just skipped back to the pit lane there.
Yeah, I think Maloney's actually out the session, unfortunately, so I think he is pulled out the pit lane, so issues for him, unfortunately. But up in the battles, we've got Skurlock, who's just got past Hamish Gallagher, and his teammate Luke Trahere is about to do the same thing. Luke Trahere making the move on a very battle-damaged Hamish Gallagher there. Front of that car is looking a little bit worse for wear, a little bit like a Dale-esque painting at the moment. But he's still keeping it out there, doing a good job. They've now got to chase down Foster, who's got a good bit of a lead over the two of them, as a about a 4-second gap between Foster and Skurlock at the moment. So Skurlock's going to be busy trying to catch down on Foster.
Definitely. It's like Barry Neal and Ruben Phelps are still running out there.
Yeah, Ruben Phelps not making a stop at the moment, as I think Barry Neal getting past him for position. So Phelps sort of staying out on those old tyres at the moment, I believe. So he's putting in a mega stint here. That's going to be good for him towards the end of the race. Same with Christopher Finlay as well. So those two are just keeping it out for as long as possible, just going for a much longer stint here, getting some pain in this closing stages, but they should have some nice fresh tyres as it goes on.
As we saw last night, though, it looked like the fresh tyres towards the end definitely paid more of an advantage come the end of the race. So might be the way to go here, sticking it out and running long. And just as we've called it, Ruben's actually pulled into the pit lane there, so he's made a bit of a fool of us talking about him staying longer, but hopefully for his sake, this helps him I think he might have missed his pit box there, but hopefully he can recover from that one.
Damon Stockton has got a few incident points at the moment, and he's shown up 10 on producers one. I've got 11 on my screen, but that's one of the big things we've got to keep an eye out for tonight. We did see it last night as well, a few people having to do drive-throughs. Of course, there's an instant point cap of 12 points, and you've got to be careful of running wide. It's so easy just to run a little bit wide here when you're pushing the car, when you're going around this track, and you just go a little bit wide, and all of a sudden you get yourself an instant point, and then you end up with a drive-through as one of the crank cars has gone around the 52. That is going to be Aidan Schultz there.
A bit unfortunate. He was doing really well before to hold on to that and had cork up the field for a little bit, but I think he's just had a few mistakes there and he's fallen back a bit now. Running in 20th now, he'll be hoping to hold on to that. He took a big bite of a sausage there, and it turned out to be a spicy one and spun him right around through the S's. So very lucky not to catch some more drivers with that one, but he's going to get away with that relatively scot-free. Just a few positions lost, probably a little bit of pain on the wrist from the snapback of the steering wheel, but he's gotten away relatively scot-free. Hamish Gallagher's done a good job of getting back up keeping on the back of Luke Trahir and Michael Skurlock at the moment. He's on a little bit of an older set of tyres than Skurley and Trahir, but he's doing a good job of keeping up there, especially with that damage. Yeah, I don't know if he'll be able to hold on to them for too much longer, but he's doing all right there. Hopefully, he'll be hoping just to hold on to that position and keep the likes of Donnelly, Stockton and Finlay behind. Yeah, Christopher Finlay in the pits finally. Tristan Koch, the only driver out there showing not to have come in a pit lane at the moment. But Christopher Finlay coming in now and chucking on a fresh set of boots and getting that car filled up with go juice. So he's going to drop a few positions, but he's going to come out on some nice fresh tyres into a relatively tight pack of cars. It is absolutely nose to tail from around about 10th place down to, 10th place onwards, really. There is not much of a gap between those cars, so they're relatively close there, and Finlay has come out just in front of Tristan Koch, I believe. He's going to make a few positions there. So he's come out in a relatively good position there, so he'll be able to get past the 550 with very easy pass there through the S's. And I think it's James Robbie in front of him now. So he's going to be working his way up the field now, and those fresh tyres are going to help him out an enormous amount right now. So he should find that this works out better towards the latter stages, and with everybody being so very close to each other, he should find he catches a lot of people up relatively quickly. He might well make up a few positions yet in this race. Definitely. So it looks like there's a bit of a tussle going on for P11 at the moment between Barry Neal and Justin Witcher. Witcher looks like he's got it on the back of Barry, but he might have actually made a mistake there. Might have been made a fool of because he's dropped about a second off there.
It's always the case when you talk about somebody. Justin Witcher, though, having a good run. He's managed to make 5 positions so far in the Activity Hub Barley team. Doing a good run out there tonight. David Stockton, the biggest gainer at the moment, 21 positions. Josh Micklemore as well, working his way up the field. We said he was a bit out of position earlier on. He's managed to make 10 positions. He's up into 15th now. So doing a good run, good recovery drive. But still, Mitch Motorsport, only the one car in the top 10 at the moment. They're not having the best of nights, but as they will let you know, then they don't always have the easiest time on these road circuits in the Cup Series, despite the fact that they are pretty handy on road courses.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame to see them not performing quite where they would want to be at the moment, but obviously they'll improve and they'll go back to the drawing board and be back better than ever before for Sonoma, because the cruel reality of it is we've got a lot of road courses on the calendar this year, so they're going to have to try and pick up their pace if they want to stay up the front.
Tristan Koch finally coming in. 18 laps for his stint. What a mega stint there. He did a good job of sort of keeping in a decent position. Good qualifying position again from Tristan Koch. Showing some good single lap speed at the moment, Tristan Koch, and just working on those race results now, just getting that race pace. There's a big battle between Parry Anastakis, Danny G and Jason Martin at the moment. Anastakis in a Mitch sandwich. He is really battling it out as they go. He was right on the tail of Danny G, which has just thrown him into the grasp of Jason Martin now, who's going to make the move down into turn 11. He's going to be the last of the late breakers. Will he make this one work? Looks like he has, but you're going to see Anastakis get a good run off the corner. He's going to have better traction. Should be able to get Jason down the straight here.
Yeah, he did that perfectly. Well timed from Parry. He's just going to be a bit of a pest of Jason here, and he's going to make life a little bit more difficult.
And it's who's going to get the braking right into turn 12 right now. Now, of course, if Jason can keep on the outside, it could work out well. Anastakis does a good job of switching over to the inside of turn 13. He's going to have the inside line now, but you've got Jason Martin just trying to hold on to that outside line. He's going to try and keep there, because eventually this will turn to an inside line, and he's gonna make the move work. Is he? He's got the turn in, and he finally makes that pass on Anastakis there. Good racing there from the two of them. Really, really nice and clean racing between those two. Great job from Jason Martin to get the position from Anastakis.
Yeah, it looks like Jason had a little bit better rubber there at that point and made the most of it, obviously, and he'll be glad to be making a little bit more position. Every position's a point, as they say, and he'd be really keen to try and get a few more positions. He won't be happy running around outside the top 10.
No, it's not a position that Jason particularly enjoys, being outside the top 10. He likes his top 10 finishes. He preferably up to the top, and he's well versed in those good finishes as well. A very the most successful driver in ANZCAR, I think, off the top of my head. But he is having a good battle. Anastakis trying to get that move back on Martin now, but Martin just positioning that car very well just to keep him out of trouble.
The battle for fourth place is actually starting to heat up at the moment. Skurlock and Trahair have just been slowly eating away at Foster's lead. And now they're on the back of him, less than a second away, and it looks like Skurley's ready to race.
Yeah, Skurlock has got right on the back of Foster. Foster getting that undercut working for him very well. Tyres are a couple of laps fresher on the two Crank Esport cars, so Skurlock will have a little bit of a tyre advantage here. Foster just a little bit out of sync with this one. His tyres are a little bit older, so it could be good for them. Up the front, Philip Worley is hammering in some fast laps and closing the gap on Andrew Dyson at the moment. That last lap, he took 2 seconds out of Dyson's lead, so that's something to keep an eye on, but there is still a bit of a gap there. But the fight is on for 4th, 5th and 6th at the moment.
He'll probably pay an invoice for that come the later in the race. I almost wonder, because Dyson, we know he did it last night because he mentioned it. He backed it off and he saved tyres for a long part of that second half of the race. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's just looking after the rubber a bit at the moment. And Worley's seen that carrot, so he might end up paying a bit of a dividend later. I doubt he's probably going to lose second, so it's well worth the effort to try and do it. But yeah, I don't know if he's going to have much to go with him on the last bit of the race there.
Yeah, that's one of the things is, you sort of end up paying for it later down the line, but it's definitely he's definitely doing a good job. He's really trying at the moment, and he's not making it easy for Dyson out front. But speaking about not easy, Foster is not going to have an easy time right here. He's got Michael Skurlock right on the back of him. Michael, the baby back Skurlock, is really putting pressure on Foster at the moment.
Yes, well, I don't know if Skurley's going to have too much issues. The only problem he might have is his teammates getting real racy on the back of him as well. So that might save Ed if these two can start battling away at each other. That might be the only thing that saves Ed here. But with the fresher tyres, I really don't see how Skurlock's going to have too much of an issue getting past Foster here.
Yeah, it's looking like a done deal, but we saw Foster doing some very nice defensive driving before. He's not going to make it easy for him. He's going to do his best to make it as hard as possible for both Skurlock and Trahir, and you've got a feeling Trahir might want to try and just assert a little bit of team dominance over Skurley as well. Just say, oh, I've got it in me. I'm a quick driver as well. See how that one pays out. It'll be a fun fight between those two as well.
Definitely. So Trahir want to be proven a point, because obviously, as we mentioned before, as has been mentioned in previous broadcasts, Skurley is the immortal, the undefeatable, as they would say. So he'll want to try and get past Skurley and have that one on him as well as a teammate.
He's a bit of a measuring stick, Skurley. He's one of those drivers that everybody, if you beat Skurley, you feel very good about it, because he is such a hard driver. But that could be said for so many drivers out there. Skurlock getting a big arm full of oversteer as he makes a very late move on Foster here, just trying to test him out. And this is going to give Trahir the opportunity to get down on the inside of his teammate. Those two are side by side for a couple of moments, but not for long, as the right-hander comes into play. But Trahir is right on the back of Skurlock at the moment, who, as I said, just lit up those rears a little bit, lost himself a little bit of time, and these guys have to be careful because Hamish Gallagher is lurking in the background. So he is coming up slowly. He's not too far off this little battle, and if he latches onto this group of cars, we know he can be quick, and we know he's not afraid of making a pass either.
I believe he's got about the same age tyres as Foster as well, so if Ed keeps bottling this, keeps corking this bottle up quite nicely, he'll be on the back of him, and then he's certainly not out of this battle either.
No, you can just see Skurlock just absolutely pestering Foster in the mirrors. He's going to take a little bit of tunnel and try and get a bit of quicker drive off the corner. He's going to try and use that draft, and I think we're going to see Skurlock try for that late braking manoeuvre in to turn 12 right here. Foster's covering off the inside line, so he's going to try and keep that inside line covered. He pulls himself back across as the braking zone comes up, gets on the nice rubbered part of the section so he can brake nice and late, keeps him behind him for another moment. Skurlock is really trying at the moment. He's just pestering him in the mirrors, just putting that car in every position he can just to try and distract Foster.
Yeah, definitely. But these two have got history battling each other on road courses. It was a race last year at Charlotte where Foster managed to hold him off for the whole second half of the race. So Ed knows how to defend against Skurlock, don't you worry. If he wants to stay in front of Skurlock, he'll definitely give it a red hot crack.
Yeah, very much so. They have raced each other many times, as is the case with a lot of our drivers. We've raced each other a fair few times, and a lot of history. And it's the thing as well is you sort of know how the other driver drives, so you sort of know where they're going to be strong, know where they're going to be weak as well. So you keep an eye on those areas. But Skurlock is definitely trying to play mind games with Foster at this stage. A little bit further back, Danny G and Jason Martin are working their way up there into 12th position. They're trying to catch up to Justin Witcher. Josh Micklemore, I think, has made a little bit of a mistake No, sorry, he's in 17th still, but he had a little bit of a moment, I think, a little bit earlier on. He's got Christopher Finley just getting past him. Said, watch out for Christopher Finley. He's on those nice fresh tyres, so he's working his way up that field with those cars being relatively close together. So he's working his way up. He's got Riley Curtis next in the line. So we'll keep an eye on his charge through the pack as well. But
see, the problem with Mickelmore here is he was one of the first cars to come down the lane to try and get out of that pack because he was stuck down there, I think, 2021. Got that undercut, and it's now just starting to come back and bite him. A few cars are going to slip past, but it looks like he's still going to make a net gain at come the end of the race.
yeah, we saw a lot of cars struggling on tyres. Foster gets a little bit wide, and this is going to give Scarlett that little bit of underneath. He has that little moment where he thinks he could possibly do it. Doesn't quite work for him this time, but will he be able to make the late braking work? He's got his teammate right on the back of him as well.
Luke. Watch out for Luke here. He's shaping up. He's down the inside of Skurlock. Skurlock's deep on the brakes. Nearly gets the back of Foster's car there. Very, very tight racing here. Very exciting stuff to watch. So I think it just settled out a bit there, but I wouldn't discount Skurley diving up the inside here at the next corner here.
They're so close. I was sort of thinking as well, will we see a bit of a pincer move from the two Crank Esport cars down that straight eventually, with Luke going on the inside, Skurley on the outside, just absolutely giving Foster nowhere to defend because those two are getting so close to him at the moment. They've got that opportunity to do that.
Well, I think I mentioned it briefly before, but that last time round, Skurley had the brakes to try and outbrake Ed there, and he tried to, but he had his teammate up the inside and he couldn't go for it. So Luke here is hurting Skurlock's chances of getting past Foster, but Ed will be over the moon if Traher keeps battling with Skurlock like that.
Yeah, it will help him out an enormous amount. Somebody that's not had a good little bit of a lap is Danny G. He's had a bit of a moment coming out of the final corner. He lost a bit of speed and then made a bit of a pig's ear of it in the first corner and lost a position to Anastakis, so he's lost that spot. But it's sort of, as I say, we don't really want to move away from this position, this battle for fourth place at the moment, because it is so close. This move is coming any lap, and guaranteed as soon as we look away or blink, that move will actually happen.
Yeah. Oh, Skurlock's up the inside there. Oh, it's tight through the S's there. Foster's. Oh, there's a bit of contact there actually. A bit of door-to-door bumping. And Foster's going to hold on to it just there.
That was so close, but Skurlock's going to have a run at him down into turn 10 and then turn 11, and he makes the late break, and Traher's going to make the move as well. They're going to both try for it. Foster should have a little bit of a better exit here, so he's going to be having a drag race with Traher, but Skurlock's managed to get ahead of Foster finally. Luke Traher's going to be on the inside of him. He's going to jump in there, just get in the slipstream of Foster right here as they run down to turn 12. Traher is going to try that late break. Will he be able to get past Foster as well? We'll soon find out. He breaks nice and late, tries to the inside, locks the wheel. He's going to make it. Foster eases off just to avoid a little bit of contact there. Traher's got that, but Foster's going to have the inside here, so it's not over by a long shot. Foster's going to have the run on Traher right now. Traher's got those slightly fresher tyres, which is going to help him on the outside line, and that could be the difference for that position, and I think Traher has got it.
And now Gallagher's pulled up onto the back of this one as well with all of that fighting, and I think he'll be hungry to try and get past Foster as well. Best of the Mitch cars there. Hamish he'll be hoping to try and get that P6 off Ed.
And we've got a good battle for P10 as Barry Neal and Justin Witcher are side by side. Justin Witcher just locks it up a little bit, Barry Neal as well, but Justin Witcher has managed to make that move into turn 11. Sorry, not turn 11. Whereabouts are we? I'm lost on track there for a second. I think that was turn 12. But just making that move, Barry Neal is going to try and get back on Witcher, but just doesn't quite make it. Justin Witcher making his way up into P10.
This battle's been raging all night. These guys have swapped positions so many times, we've lost count almost. It's good stuff to see, but they're certainly not making any progress on the likes of Stockton or Donnelly. That's for sure.
No, Damon Stockton having a good run up there. I just got showing on my screen though he might be due for a run through pit lane, unfortunately, because I've got 12 incident points on him at the moment. So I'll keep an eye on that one. Danny G as well getting up there on incident points as well, but sometimes the systems that we use aren't as accurate as we'd like, and they don't always give us the true story as to what's happening.
That pace from Worley seems to have fizzled out a bit. The gap sort of stayed static at about 5.2 seconds there. So unfortunately, we won't see the fireworks we were hoping for the lead, but he seems to have settled into the rhythm there, and he's running quite nicely in P2.
Yeah, what a lead from Andrew Dyson, though. He's 37 seconds ahead of Neil Pearson, 54 seconds ahead of Michael Skurlock. He has just pulled out and absolutely dominated once more here at COTA. Andrew Dyson, again, just doing a great job. Won't speak too much just in case we put the old curse on him. Don't want to do that just yet for him. So we won't build him up too much, but he's doing another great job out there.
And just to add a little bit more onto that, if he does win tonight, he'll have completed the complete sweep of COTA for the year. He'll have won all 3 series at the same track.
That's it. That's what I didn't want to mention, just in case it puts the curse on him. So if he fails, then he knows who to blame, Lockie.
It's all right, Carl. I mean, I'm not even a full-time commentator, so does it really count? Does the curse work for me? I don't know.
We'll find out. We'll find out if you have the powers yet. But it's not over yet between Trahir and Foster, because Foster is still putting pressure on Trahir as well. So those two are still battling it out. Foster is not giving up that P5. And you've got to wonder if maybe Foster and maybe Trahir might have just burnt his tyres up a little bit following in behind his teammate and Foster for so long, and that battle maybe just causing a little bit of damage.
Yeah. We saw a little bit of contact between Foster and Skurlock before, so that might have done a little bit of damage to Foster's car as well.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. A little bit of damage. Sometimes it doesn't seem like much, but it depends where you get hit and how hard you get hit. Bit of a change of position down a little bit further. James Robbie working his way up to P17, getting past Josh Micklemore. Josh Micklemore's night continues to be a little bit worse for wear, and we've got a move with Christopher Finlay as well. Christopher Finlay trying to make the move on Danny G at the moment. He locks up the wheel, doesn't quite make it this time, and this is going to give Riley Curtis a little bit of a run on him, but Finlay on those much fresher tyres. Oh, he let it up on the exit. He manages to save it, but he spun up those rear tyres, and that's going to chuck a bit of heat through them.
Yeah, no, it's not going to help his rubber there, doing that sort of stuff. It's certainly going to make his night a lot more harder, because as was mentioned last night in the post-race interviews, once you hurt these tyres, there's not a lot of bringing them back. You can't really recover them very well.
That's it. Track temperature 47 degrees out there as well, Celsius, of course. So it is very, very hot out there. And when you spin up those tyres, it makes it harder to cool them down as well. It's a little bit like when you're racing in wet conditions and it's starting to dry up and your tyres get a little bit too hot. It can be a bit tricky to cool them down again. Much harder here, of course, because you don't have any puddles to run through.
And we talked about that paying the price, Worley. He's actually started to lose a lot of time to Dyson. He's dropped a couple seconds in the last lap and a half. So obviously, by the looks of it, he's still 30-odd seconds ahead of Pearson. So he'll be safe for P2, but he's certainly going to make that gap look a little bit bigger that Dyson's got over him there.
Yeah, he's got time to actually relax a little bit and not push, but it does mean that battle for P1 is not going to be happening, unfortunately. But we have got some battles still going on. Riley Curtis doing a good job catching on Christopher Finlay, who had that big moment. Riley Curtis down there in 16th position, Finlay in 15th. So Riley's starting to try and put some pressure on. Finlay is trying to put some pressure on Danny G as well. So this battle is becoming a bit of a freeway battle again, and I think Danny G is, as you said, the cork in the bottle in this one. So if Finlay can get past, he's going to make some moves. Finlay gets down the inside right here. Will Finlay be able to make it work? Doesn't quite get the drive he needs. Finlay is really putting the pressure on Danny G at the moment, though. having those fresher tyres will help a little bit with that grip. He's just got to make sure not to push them too hard and overcook them, but he can sort of drive in a few different places and use those tyres to help him in a couple of different areas.
Yeah, definitely. So, as we sort of move back towards the front, I think Foster seemed to have pulled away from Gallagher, but Trahare's all over the back of Skurlock again, so certainly not over there for P4, and I wouldn't move the eyes away too far away from it, because it looks like it's not done there.
No, that battle is still raging on. It's given us a great show tonight, and we've had some brilliant racing here at COTA. It's not everybody's favourite track, it's one of those circuits I feel like you either love or you hate, and most people hate it. I don't mind it too much in a few different cars, but in a cup car or a cup car, a Xfinity or a truck, definitely not a favoured track to have a bit of a cruise around. But it does bring some good racing.
I'll be honest, it's not my favourite track in the world. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm not that upset about missing out on tonight. I am, but it's one of those ones I could take or leave, you know.
Got Aiden Schultz coming into pit lane with 3 laps remaining. I'm wondering if he may have a bit of a drive-through here. So wondering if he's got pinged for track limits, because yes, he's not stopped. So Aiden Schultz, unfortunately, getting a drive-through penalty from incident points. But it just shows it is very close for instant points out there for a lot of those drivers. So all it takes is one mistake and you could be serving a costly drive-through penalty, as Finley finally makes the move on Danny G here. He's got the outside line now. He's got to try and keep it around the outside of Danny G. Those fresher tyres should help him out here. Should have that bit of drive as long as he doesn't spin it up too much. He gets a little bit of a tail kick there, but he's managed to keep it. He's going to have the inside line now. Just has to keep Danny G behind him, and he should be able to run away a little bit with this one now.
I watch Riley Curtis, won't be too far away from a move on Danny either here. Riley knows Danny quite well in the way he drives, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's going to have the upper hand coming around him in a minute.
Yeah, both lots of experience in the series, been racing each other for a long time, and we've seen Riley Curtis in the series for a good long time. It's nice to see Riley having a good race out there tonight, and having some good battles as well, but he's right on the back of Danny G at the moment and trying to make that move for position. This is going to be good news for Finley, though. He's going to be able to break away a little bit, but he has got a bit of time to make up to Anastakis. Anastakis has got a little bit of a lead over Finley, but it is within reason that he might be able to catch him. Just depends how much life is left in those tyres. As Andrew Dyson comes across the line, we've got 2 laps remaining here.
A little bit of an update for the battle on P10. Barry Neal's still all over the back of Wichita. That one's not done yet. We might see a late race move there for the last top 10 spot there as well.
Oh, there's an issue for Aiden Schultz, actually. A bit of contact, I think, maybe between himself. Oh, Barry Neal's lost the back end coming into turn number 12 and caught the back of Aiden Schultz there.
I believe that was Paul Jackson, actually.
Oh, Paul Jackson, sorry
to correct. And they were fighting for position as well.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
A little bit of some words getting thrown around there, but I think it's all's well that ends well. They'll move on and stay out of harm's way. It did, however, back up that battle for P4 though, as they came through it. So it's brought them that little battle closer together again.
It has, and Paul Jackson's actually made a bit of a mistake as well. Again, I think because he spun, he actually lost the rear end, and that almost caught out Hamish Gallagher. Hamish Gallagher, I think he might have actually caught the back of Aiden Schultz in that incident. No, he didn't. I thought there was a bit more damage to the back of that car, because it is looking... it's not looking much like a car anymore. It looks a little bit more like a piece of art that you would see in a museum somewhere, but it is still going, and that's the most important.
A little bit worse for wear, you reckon there, Carl?
I think it will need a good panel beater to do a lot of work on that one. She's not looking great out there at the moment. A bit of rhinoplasty on the old Taylor Swift car out there tonight, I think, will be needed.
It's a little bit of an update for those following at home for our Captain Clean, Mr. Sheen, Matty Raymond. He's running around in 19th out there, so he's having a good, consistent, clean race again. Clean car. Hoping to bring it home nice and well for those who are following Matty Raymond out there.
And we just saw as well Christopher Finlay and Parry Anastakis having the battle. Christopher Finlay getting past Anastakis, as well as Riley Curtis getting past Danny G as well, and he's right on the back of Parry as well. So Riley Curtis is just sort of following Finlay at the moment and using him as a bit of a sort of barge to get his positions up. So doing a good job of following there.
So, there's a bit of movement there for P4 as Traher made a move up the inside just briefly on Skurlock. This is not over at all. I'd keep eyes on this one here as we're coming down to the last lap soon.
Yeah, it's getting very, very close between those three cars. And you got the feeling that Luke Traher just wants to make that position. He just wants to gain that little bit of extra position, gain a little bit of... Just have that little bit of bragging rights, inter-team bragging rights, things like that, of course, because all of these things help a little bit. But it'll also help him as well for his ambitions of getting into the chase, of course, because Traher is in the standings at the moment. As I said at the beginning of the broadcast, Traher is up there in 9th position, and he's just behind Foster.
You want to be careful though, because if he does make too many moves on Skurlock, he'll leave himself vulnerable to Foster, who will be desperate to try and sneak it back into the top 5 here.
That's it, and it is positions in championship between Foster and Traher at the moment, and Foster does have the lead currently over Traher, but Traher is desperately trying to get a little bit more space between himself and Foster just to try and get a couple of extra points there.
We've kind of missed it a bit, but Dyson's coming through the last sector now, as he's actually only got a few more corners to go. And he
has, yes. I was about to bring that up because I was about to say white flag has been flown, but Dyson is coming around. He actually made that lap quicker than I expected, a bit more action than we thought, but he is coming into the final section now. An absolutely brilliant race from Andrew Dyson as he's coming into the final corner, and he is going to come across the line and become the king of COTA for ANZCAR. He gets a good drift out the corner, lights it up in joy there. Andrew Dyson taking the win at COTA and becoming the victor in the trucks, the Xfinity and the Cup Series. An absolute brilliant job from Andrew Dyson as Foster tried to make a move on Traher. I think he tried to get a little bit of a move, or he made a bit of a mistake because I saw him out of position. He's lost a bit of time to those two, but how is Traher and Skurlock going to go? Those two are still nose to tail, but it looks like Skurlock is going to be the one that's going to take the position.
I wouldn't rule out a last corner move here. Traher is very, very keen to try and get past, and he looks like he might have to pace on Skurlock here as well.
It's going to be very close.
He's a bit wide there, actually. Luke's got the run on him here. Watch this. Skurlock defends.
We saw it last night.
A better exit here.
Battle out the final corner, but he can't quite make it work. And Skurlock is going to take the position over Luke Traher and Edward Foster. Hamish Gallagher is going to...
Sorry to interrupt, Carl. There's a battle going on now back for 10th as well, as we see Barry Neal's all over the back of Witcher again. These two have not stopped battling all night, and it looks like Neal is maybe got the upper hand at the moment, trying to get past. He's reading that part number on that rear wing again.
Really close between them. It's also another fight for 12th and 13th as Finlay is working on Jason Martin at the moment. So we'll jump back to that once we see what's happened between Witcher and Neal. Christopher Finlay has managed to make the move on Jason Martin, but Witcher and Neal hard battling it out. Neal's going to try get a late break. Will he get the drive off the corner here? He tries for it. It's going to be very close.
He's got the run.
Doesn't quite make it.
Tires. And Finlay's got the move on Martin there. He's going to defend into the last corner.
It's got a lot. Will Martin be able to do it? It's going to be so close between these two cars.
This is incredible. Oh,
Finley just makes it.
tenth of a second there. Less than a tenth. 0.098 there.
A tenth between Witcher and Neil and a tenth between Finley and Martin. There was nothing between those cars at the finish there. That was a intense finish again. We saw some good finishes last night, but we've seen an absolute royal performance by the King of COTA, Andrew Dyson, tonight. He is going to be a very proud man, and he's going to be loving this. A first victory in the Cup Series as well for Andrew Dyson. An absolute worthwhile victory for him. Really, really good job.
Yeah, definitely. He's completing this complete sweep there. That's very impressive work from Dyson there, winning all 3 COTA races and doing them all very comfortably too. I think it hasn't been less than 5 or 6 seconds in every race so far.
No, Dyson has been having a pretty stand-out season as well in the Cup Series. He's had 3 top 5 finishes, 11 starts this year. He's down there in 15th. This is going to jump him up the leaderboard a fair bit, but taking out his first victory for the Cup Series. He's taken out his first victory in the Xfinity Series this week as well, and he took out another win in the trucks too. Andrew Dyson, just an absolute great job here tonight, and really making the statement that he is here to race and win, for especially on these road courses. But we have seen some good performances from him on some of these shorter track ovals as well, so definitely one to watch out for. So let's go through the finishing order. So as we said, King of COTA himself, Andrew Dyson for DPR, taking out a DPR Simrigs 1, 2, 3 with Philip Worley in second, Neil Pearson in third. Michael Skurlock for Cranky Esports is in fourth place with his teammate Luke Trahair in fifth position. Good top 5 finish for those two. Edward Foster finishing sixth. Not the best finish for him. He will be happy with a top 10 though, I am sure, and especially here at COTA. Good finish for him and having some great battles through the night. Hamish Gallagher ends up in 7th, the best of the Mitch Motorsport cars. A good finish for him considering the damage he had. Cade Donnelly comes home in 8th. A very strong finish for Cade Donnelly tonight, doing a great job out there to get that P8 finish. Damon Stockton is the man that made the moves tonight. 21 positions gained. Another one of the DPR cars getting there to P9, and Justin Witcher taking out P10 by a couple of tenths of a second in the Activity Hub Barley team, getting up into the top 10. A really good finish for Justin Witcher, his fourth P10 of the season. Barry Neal finished in 11th with Christopher Finley in 12th, Jason Martin 13th, Riley Curtis 14th, 15th was Anastakis with Danny G in 15th, 16th for Danny G. James Robbie was 17th with Josh Micklemore 18th, 19th was Maddie Raymond in a very clean looking car at the end, with Gary Wellman in 20th, 21st Stephen Williams, Ruben Phelps 22nd, 23rd Scott Griffiths, Aidan Schultz 24th, 25th for Tristan Koch, Paul Jackson 26th, 27th for Dave Douglas, Jake Maloney out 15 laps down, 28th, Troy Davison out early unfortunately with that spin, 29th, and Aaron Dillon out very early in the race with an incident in 30th position.
Unfortunate to see the likes of Dave and Tristan not quite get the performance they were hoping for, but bringing it home at the end, I would certainly be happy to finish in the end.
Yeah, that's it. Finishing is one of the main things, because at least you get some points with that. So let us get the drivers up here, and let's start, as we often do, with our third place finisher, Neil. Well, not so often third place, but third place finisher we'll start with tonight is Neil Pearson. Neil Pearson, congratulations on that P3 finish. How are you going?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy to walk away here with a top 3. It's not one of my stronger tracks, so...
No, we know that you're pretty handy on the old road courses. We know that you're pretty good there, and your team Your team are relatively strong on road courses as well, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a massive road background, so that's where we are at our strongest. So it was good that we could come out and have a really good showing with a 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely. We were talking a little bit about that through the broadcast. A really strong performance from all three of you tonight. Congratulations on that for the team. I think that's, off the top of my head, the first 1, 2, 3 for a team in the season as well. But obviously, good performance from yourself tonight, Neil. You managed to sort of get a good strong finish as well. Started down in 6th position, worked your way up into 3rd for the end of that race. So a nice little bit of gaining there. We saw some good racing on track as well.
Yeah, it was good fun. Didn't get the best start, unfortunately, but and then just managed to pick off the guys one by one. And yeah, got myself into 4th, and then something happened with Maloney, I'm not sure. So yeah, I inherited 3rd.
Yeah, it's been a strong season for you as well. You've seen you up the top a few times and on the podium a fair few times as well. This is going to help out, of course, with the regular season championship, but it's looking very, very likely that you are very much secured in the chase now as we're getting towards the latter end of the season. How are you feeling the season's gone with as we're sort of coming towards the mid to halfway point now? We're a little bit further than that, actually. We're just over halfway.
I'm sitting 3rd, I think. I think Skirley's probably he'll still be in front, and I should have a good jump on Micklemore from this race. But I'm pretty happy with how the season's gone. There's been a few races where I haven't had the results that I should have had due to various incidents or whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty happy to be sitting in 3rd, and I'm looking forward to reset for the chase and see if we can bring the whole thing home in the last 10 races of the season.
That's it. Look, I'm sure we'll have you back up in the booth before we get to the chase, of course, but congratulations on that P3 finish tonight. As always, the usual things of shout out and love to your sponsors.
First off, I'd just like to thank ANZCAR for running a really decent series. You guys, FGM eCast, for the great broadcasting. Hopefully there should be good viewing later on. And then we got simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, BenMax Mechanical, Best Smart Racing Services, NP Designs, and just my teammates for just the inspiration and keeping the motivation to keep going forward and keep learning as we go.
Thank you so much, Neil, and I'm sure we'll see you back up in the booth before too long, but congratulations again.
Hopefully. Thanks, guys.
Next up for P2, Mr. Philip Worley. Welcome back to the booth, Mr. Worley. How are you going? And congratulations on a strong P2 finish.
Thanks, boys. No, it's really good to be here.
We've of course, we had you up at Atlanta, I think it was, with P3. So you've done one better tonight, getting up into P2 tonight. A really strong performance out there from yourself.
Yeah, no, it was very good. It's my best race since Atlanta. I've had a few shockers in between, so yeah, it's always good to be on the podium.
No, absolutely. We saw you. We saw you sort of after the pit stops, setting some really good lap times and starting to close the gap a little bit on your teammate Andrew Dyson. Were you sort of thinking you might be able to get him tonight, or was it a little bit too far away?
No, that was never on the game plan. I just sort of reeled off a few good laps and Dyso was cruising. Even if I had got to him, it would have stayed as was. He's in a chance to get in the chase, and I'm not, so that was always going to stay the same.
Well, teamwork is always important, but it was fun to watch you. We saw some really good racing as well early on with yourself and Maloney. Of course, really good fight between you two early on. Obviously, it's not the easiest track to pass on, but we saw some really good battling and some good defending as well. How was that in the early stages for you?
No, that was really good. That's anytime you can have a good race like that with Maloney, it's just fun. He's a quality operator, so I didn't quite get the pass made. he was a little bit too strong under brakes, but that's just the way it goes, and it was good fun, so I'll take it.
No, well, thank you for giving us a good show, and congratulations on your best finish so far in the ANZCAR series. Now you've just got one more place to go. So next time we get you in the booth, hopefully it will be for a P1.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, there's a few more road courses coming up, so we'll see what happens.
Well, that's it. I mean, do you sort of have any road courses that you're expecting to get a good finish on in the upcoming series? Is there anywhere that we should really keep an eye out for you on?
Honestly, this one's probably my favourite one out of the lot, but seeing though our team has a big supercar background, I would like to think we've got a top 5 at all of the road courses available. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. On the night, anything can happen.
Absolutely. We wish you all the best, and of course, before I let you go, the usual love and shout out to your sponsors.
Yeah, no, I'd like to thank you boys for the awesome broadcast every week, and ANZCAR for putting on the series. And then I'd like to thank simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, and of course MP Designs for the awesome paints, and yeah, my teammates as well.
Congratulations, Philip Wally, for DPR getting a P2 finish, best finish of the season. Of course, we saw you at P3. Next up, we just got to get you that victory.
Thanks, mate. I'll be trying.
And finally, we will go to a man we've spoken to relatively recently, the king of COTA in ANZCAR, Mr. Andrew Dyson.
I don't know about king of COTA, mate. That's a bit of a far-fetched thing. I've had a good run. Lucky to get away with that one tonight because Jake was on the pace. But yeah, I don't know about king of COTA. That might be a touch too far.
Well, I'm afraid you've been dubbed it now, so at least in ANZCAR, you've done the triple. Really good job from yourself. We've seen you absolutely do a great job in the trucks. Of course, last night in Thunder was a fantastic result for yourself as well, and tonight you really pulled it out the bag. What a great race for you, and congratulations as well on your first Cup victory.
Yeah, I did finally get a Cup victory. We were close a while back at Martinsville. Couldn't get that done. Willie was close back there too, so he nearly got his first. But we'll keep working on the circle tracks, and we'll get there with that. But yeah, it was like I said at the start of the race, it was pretty touch and go. I mean, Jake's a quality operator, as Willie touched on, and even though he pitted earlier, it was actually unfortunate whatever happened with that because he would have come out in front, and I would have had to pit a lap later. But even though his tyres would have been a lap older, I mean, yeah, he's a wily racer. He would have. And he knows how to win, so he would have been. It would have been a battle, that's for sure. Certainly would have been on, but yeah, lucky to get away with it, and it was a good race.
Unfortunately, we think he got a ping for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately, so just didn't quite get that entry and get that one right. Because shame robbed us of some good racing up the front, but
yeah,
we know how strong you are here. Obviously, we saw you. Weren't quite on pole for the start, but we saw you doing some great lap times out there. Although I think Philip Wally ended up with the best lap time at the end, so he picked you for the top lap. But how are you feeling if you sort of were having to race? Did you feel like you had the car underneath you tonight? Do you feel like you're sort of confident for that one?
I don't know. To be honest, at the end of that last stint there, it was like we were all pretty even, so it was really hard to tell who was going to be able to look after their tyres the best through the stints. But yeah, like I said, it's Jake's a wily operator and he knows how to win races, so it would have been tough. But yeah, it's really hard to say what would have happened at the end of the race if we were all together, man.
Well, now you can say you know how to win races because you got that Cup victory under the belt. So the first one is done. That's the hardest one, as we always say. It's that first one is always the tricky one. Now you can relax a little bit. You've had 3 top 5 finishes this season as well. 12 starts, 3 top 5 finishes. It's been a relatively good year for you, of course, and this is going to help with the regular season and of course help you sort of work your way up, hopefully towards the chase. So how are you feeling on that one? Are you looking to try and get in there? Do you think you're going to do it, or do you think that's a little bit too much of an ask at the moment?
We'll be slowly sneaking up on it over the last few races. Probably had a bit of bad luck at the last one. Even probably Darlington, we had a little bit of bad luck as well. Was probably lucky to get away with the top 5 there in the end as well. But we've been sneaking up on it, slowly coming up the championship standings a little bit, but I really needed a race at a road circuit to kind of get myself in there. But I have been trying to get into the chase, and I think once we get there, we can acquit ourselves reasonably well. Just need to keep going around and running my own races, staying out of trouble, avoiding the incident points, maybe get a sneaky bonus point here and there, and hopefully secure a spot in the chase and have a bit of fun with that at the end of the season.
Well, here's hoping. Look, hopefully we'll get you. Oh, look, I'm not going to say hopefully. I'm pretty sure we're going to get you back up in the booth this season. We've got a fair few courses, and I know you've been putting time in and sort of working on those short tracks as well, and a few of those coming up as well. So it should be interesting with that. We got next road course, of course, is Sonoma. Track that you know well. Have you raced there much?
Yeah, I have raced there before with supercar stuff. It's probably not one of my favourite tracks, but a lot of undulation probably makes for good racing. Really hard to manage the throttle around there. This track's pretty flat, so that makes it kind of, you've got to be kind of careful on the front end to not go in too hard and then try and come off too hard on the exits. But yeah, Sonoma with the undulations, like, you really got to be on your game there pretty much everywhere to keep it on the road at the very least. So that'll be tough.
It'll be interesting to see how you go. Of course, Charlotte next up, so back on the round circuit. So wish you luck there. Of course, before we go to shout outs and sponsors, congratulations once more for all three of you for the team for getting the 1, 2, 3. An absolutely epic job from all three of you. We were talking in the broadcast as well, just how strong you guys have been this season. You've been putting in a lot of work, obviously, as well.
Yeah, probably a credit to the boys with that one. I mean, you can't go through an interview without dropping a full credit to the boys. So full credit to the boys for that one. We worked together and sussed it out. And like I've probably been harping on about with the circle tracks, Neil's always in our ear about what to do, and that's been a massive help. So yeah, it's good fun. I really like racing in the series. The circle tracks are something I've always been wanting to get into. So enjoying yourself is just is probably 3 parts of the battle really when it comes to having a good race. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Congratulations. And before we let you go, of course, the big one, the shout outs and love to your sponsors and people you want to give a shout out to.
Well, I think the boys basically covered off the sponsors, but I'll make a shout out for Damo because I think he started a pretty long way back in that race with a end of line for this week, and he's been a bit of a naughty boy lately, but he's got his act together this week and he's come up 21 spots. So a small shout out to Damo. Great job there. Personal shout out to Phil and Derek at Simrigs.com for hooking me up with my gear and stuff. They're bloody legends. And thanks again to AJ Insurance Services for sponsoring the FGM Ecast broadcasts. And thanks to you guys for commentating. And thanks to ANZCAR, and thanks to all the guys for racing tonight.
You're always welcome. If you give us good shows like that, it makes our lives so much easier. Thank you so much, guys. And I'm hopefully we'll see you back in the booth in a relatively short time.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
So, Lockie, that was one heck of a race there. Second of America's bringing up another great race once more.
Yeah, definitely was certainly one enjoyable one to watch, and I had quite a lot of fun commentating that one with you there, Carl.
No, I'm glad about that, and a big thank you again for commentating. It's much appreciated. We'll be hopefully seeing you back in the car relatively shortly. As you say, things are starting to look a little bit better with the knee and things like that, so that's good news indeed. So hopefully we'll have you back on track very shortly. Of course, Charlotte next time out for the Cup Series. A very different beast to take on from COTA.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, personally, I'm hoping to be back in the car at least by the latest Wednesday. I'm targeting a return on Monday at Watkins Glen. I might not run the full race, but I'm certainly keen to get back behind the wheel and turn some laps.
Yeah, that's it. And speaking of Watkins Glen, that is coming up next time out for FGM Ecast when we are back on Monday night for, of course, the ANZCAR Truck Series 2 will be at the Glen, 35 laps. So that's going to be a fun race. The Watkins Glen, always a favourite, one of my favourite tracks to race on as well. We also have the Oz Pro Am Sim Series 2 as always, and that's going to be at the Green Hell, the Nürburgring. So we are at the 24-hour version of the Nordschleife, so that's going to be a very, very fun circuit. Going to be an interesting one for the Enduro. We are looking forward to bringing you that one on Tuesday night. Then we will be back with ANZCAR for the Thunder series, bringing you the Thunder on Wednesday. And that will also be at Charlotte. So a little bit of a practice run for the Cup drivers. And as we said, we'll be at Charlotte next Thursday. So we will wish you all a good night. Thank you all for joining us. As always, we would not be able to do it without you guys joining us. A big thank you as well to AJ Insurance Services for giving us the ability to bring all the stream together and keep everything going. And as always, a big thank you to Stuart Brown in the camera operating position for keeping all those beautiful pictures going. And Lockie as well, thanks for joining us once more. We will hopefully see you back on track very shortly, and won't have you in the commentary booth, unfortunately, but we'll be able to enjoy to watch you driving.
Well, I certainly hope I'll be back up here at some point. A post-race interview would be a lovely addition to the end of the race, but no, you're definitely right. I'll be back soon. I won't be back up here next week, but hopefully back on track Monday.
Well, hopefully have you back up here at the end of the race. That's what we'll hope for. Thank you so much, Lockie. And from myself, Carl Withy, we'll wish you all a good night, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.